Joining us live now is the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren. Michael, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So just on that warning and the rise of threats against Jewish people in the United States, that's something that Australian authorities have warned about as well. The US even warning, though, there could be an eventual attack on the homeland because of the war on the US homeland. So how alarming and real is that threat with your experience?
First of all, good to be with you. Greetings from South Tel Aviv. Just had a big rocket attack outside the window here. We're in an area that's very much targeted by Hamas, so we may get interrupted. So hold your horses here. It's very real. The threat is very real. Anti-Semitic incidents are literally off the chart. The increases are in the hundreds of percentiles. In Europe, some places, in Germany, in England, they're even higher than they are in the United States. Jewish institutions are not, if not in lockdown, they are heavily guarded by police, by actually an organization that I advise called the Secure Community Network, which is an organization of former FBI agents who monitor and intercept threats to about 12,400 Jewish institutions across the United States. So it's a very real threat, particularly acute on American campuses where Jewish students feel locked in and threatened. As for violence against Muslim institutions, I think that's also a threat now. There was a Muslim young boy, a 16-year-old boy, who was murdered by just an angry American. So I guess I certainly believe that we have to be vigilant for violence in that direction as well.
You served as ambassador to the US from 2009 to 2013. There were two conflicts between Israel and Gaza in that time. Was it similar then, or is it worse now?
Oh, it's much worse now. I actually participated in one of those operations. I wasn't an ambassador yet in 2009 when I was a reserve officer. And those were 2 of 5 rounds of fighting we had with Hamas. And they basically followed the same pattern. Hamas, for whatever internal political reasons, felt it necessary to shoot rockets at us. They fired several thousand rockets at us. We responded, for the most part, from the air. Only in 2014 there was a brief and not very deeply penetrated ground operation. And then there was mediation by Egypt and other third parties, and we reached an agreement, and it went back to normal. Israel proceeded under a false premise. I stress this. I'm not a representative of the government, so I can tell you this, that we could incentivize Hamas through Qatari cash, a lot of cash, letting 20,000 Gaza workers into Israel. We were wrong. Hamas doesn't care about the cash, doesn't care about the workers, doesn't care about the people of Gaza. It cares about one thing, and that's killing us.
Right. Michael, there was a bombing today at a refugee camp in northern Gaza. A Hamas commander was taken out, but dozens of civilians were also reportedly killed in that strike. Is this consistent with international law on protecting civilians?
It is, because we've asked those civilians, we've urged them to move out of that area. They have not. Many of them are prevented from moving out of there by Hamas, often at gunpoint, because Hamas wants to use them as human shields. And you see how it works. Hamas wants to get us branded as war crimes, wants international pressure on us to mount, and so that we will accept a ceasefire, which means basically that Hamas wins. It gets away with mass murder, and we have no deterrence power at all. We won't be able to resume our normal life here. So that's what Hamas wants. We can't let them have that. Now, we don't know all the details about this bombing. We know from what happened with that hospital several weeks ago. We got to be very careful with the sources. We don't know there was an entire Hamas headquarters under that building. We'll find out. Having said that, we're always sorry to see civilians hurt. It's not the goal here. The goal is to get at Hamas. And if civilians are hurt, serving as human shields for Hamas, what can I say? That is Hamas' responsibility.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's well documented that Hamas operates within civilians, but that civilian death toll is climbing and climbing, including children. Now, more than 3,500 children have been killed so far in Gaza. So the longer this continues, does Israel run the risk, and Israel does have a lot of support in the international community, but does it run the risk of isolating itself from the international community as the civilian death toll rises?
It does. And I want to stress again, I'm not a spokesman for the government, and I worry about this. I've seen it happen even in those very small operations that we had. We started off with a lot of goodwill because we had rockets going at us. And then we lost it as we continued to bomb Hamas. Hamas is not above ground. We have to stress it's located in hundreds of miles of tunnels and bunkers, as much as 300 feet under Gaza. So you have to get to the Hamas while they're shooting the rockets. The rockets are come out of the ground. You can see them coming down. So it's very, very difficult. I'm aware of this factor. At the end of the day, we have no choice. We have to destroy Hamas, or we will not. This country simply won't be inhabitable.
Okay, Michael, we're out of time, but thank you for your time. We'll talk to you soon.